Welcome to This Explainer. I am so thrilled to have you here today because we're going to dive into a topic that literally surrounds us every single second of the day. Yet, funny enough, we almost never notice it when it's done right. We're talking about design. Now, right out of the gate, I kind of want to challenge a really common assumption. You know, even for those of us totally immersed in this world, it's super easy to get distracted by that final aesthetic coat of paint, right? We immediately think of vibrant colors, trendy fonts, or maybe the sleek, smooth curves of the latest smartphone. But as we're going to see today, true design is so much deeper than just that surface-level styling.
A lot of the time, we pit this myth of design, that it's just mere styling, against the actual reality. And the reality is that true design is the silent architecture of our daily lives. It's basically a problem-solving bridge. Just think about the layout of your favorite app, the one that makes ordering takeout absolutely effortless. Or think about that massive signage in a super chaotic airport that somehow magically gets you to your gate without a full-blown panic attack. That isn't just styling, that's architecture. That is solving a real problem for you. And the principles that separate a merely pretty project from a truly great one, well, they're completely timeless.
Section 1. Function first, always.
So before we can make anything look good, it has to actually work. This is the absolute bedrock of everything we're exploring today, and it beautifully illustrates the golden rule of design. Form follows function. Basically, a design must first successfully solve the problem it was created for, long before any styling is applied. Look, I know it is incredibly tempting to jump right in and start picking out fun colors, but great design absolutely refuses to do that. Think about a wildly expensive, beautiful chair. If it looks stunning sitting in your living room, but gives you a terrible backache after sitting in it for 5 minutes, well, it's failed as a chair. Or imagine a gorgeous, award-winning website where you physically cannot find the Buy Now button. It failed. The crucial takeaway here is that beauty should be the result of a job well done. It should never, ever be a mask for a job poorly done. The utility just has to be rock solid.
And because of that golden rule, every single great design process, without exception, starts by staring down one foundational question. What is this for? If you can't answer that clearly, no amount of modern typography or sleek curves is going to save you. You've got to define the core utility before you do absolutely anything else.
Section 2. Clarity and consistency. Okay, so once you know exactly what a thing is for, you actually have to communicate that to the user. And in this age of absolute information overload, doing less is actually your greatest superpower. It requires intense focus. Great design relentlessly removes the unnecessary. It's constantly asking, what is the one single thing the user needs to do right now, and how can I make that the most obvious choice in the world? Think about the Google homepage. It's literally the ultimate example of this. It doesn't clutter things up with news tickers, weather updates, or shopping ads. It gives you exactly one input field. By stripping away all that noise, it drastically reduces your cognitive load and simply lets you focus.
But here's the thing. Clarity alone isn't quite enough. You also need consistency, because consistency is what creates trust. When a user interacts with a product, they're subconsciously learning its language. So, if your primary button style changes every time they click to a new page, or if your tone of voice wildly shifts from super formal to slang without any warning, the user gets confused, and confusion inevitably leads to frustration. Great design establishes a system, rules for typography, color, spacing, and interaction, and it strictly sticks to them. This predictability? That's exactly what makes the user feel safe and in control.
Section 3. Guiding the user's eye. All right, so now that we've got function, clarity, and consistency nailed down, how do we actually get the user to look exactly where we want them to? Well, this all relies on visual hierarchy. Because remember, if everything is yelling at you, you can't hear a thing. If every single word on a page is bold, underlined, and neon red, absolutely nothing stands out. Actually, notice how your eye naturally reads step 1, then step 2, then step 3 right now. That's because we're using variations in scale, the size of the text, color, and white space to literally tell your brain where to look first, second, and third. A well-designed page isn't just a massive data dump, it's a carefully curated journey that gently nudges you toward a goal, while still giving you all the supporting information you need along the way.
Section 4. Empathy and white space.
We've talked a lot about mechanical layout rules so far, but at its core, great design is incredibly human. We have to deal with the psychological comfort of the user, and honestly, the single most overlooked principle in all of design is empathy. It's the hard truth that you are not your user. Great designers have to set aside their egos and their personal preferences to view the world entirely through the eyes of the person they're designing for. Are they using your app while literally sprinting to catch a train? Are they super stressed out trying to pay a late bill? Designing with empathy means anticipating that friction before it even happens and smoothing out the path for them. It's about serving them, not showing off your flashy design skills.
And a huge part of showing that empathy is giving the user room to breathe. Take a second. Notice how calm this space feels? Beginners are usually terrified of empty space. They feel this frantic need to just fill up every single inch of a screen or a page. But the pros? They know that white space, or negative space, is the necessary breathing room of design. It provides balance. It actually gives the human eye a place to rest. Without this space, a design feels suffocating, but with it, it feels premium, thoughtful, and incredibly accessible.
Section 5. The invisible art.
Ultimately, the grand goal of design is to just get out of the user's way entirely. When design works perfectly, you don't stop to admire the typography or the button radius. You simply find what you need, achieve your goal, and move on with your life. The legendary designer Dieter Rams captured this philosophy beautifully when he said, "Good design is as little design as possible." Think about it. If you ever have to stand there and explain to someone why a design is actually really good, well, it simply isn't good enough yet. It should speak for itself by disappearing.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a thought to chew on. What invisible design are you taking for granted right now? I challenge you, the very moment we're done here, look around your room, look at the handle of your coffee mug, check out the home screen of your phone, put on a new lens, and really try to spot that silent, problem-solving architecture you interact with every single day. Once you start seeing the invisible art of great design, I promise you, you're never going to look at the world the exact same way again. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this fascinating topic. Keep your eyes open and keep learning.